Okay, so let's talk about blockchain. But I want you to forget everything you think you know. Seriously, we're not going to talk about Bitcoin millionaires or, those crazy crypto crashes. Today, we are going to Egypt, where this technology is actually being used to save lives and secure people's livelihoods. It's an incredible story about solving real-world problems, like right now. So let's just dive right in.
Just take a second. When I say blockchain, what's the very first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's digital money, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, that whole wild world of cryptocurrency. But what if I told you that in Egypt, the answer is something totally, completely different? So on one side, you have the global headline, right? Blockchain as this high-stakes speculative game. But the reality on the ground in Egypt, it completely flips that script. Over there, it's being rolled out in huge national projects by really innovative startups, all to deliver practical, real-world solutions. And the very first place we see this is in an area where trust is literally a matter of life and death.
So our first stop is a field where trust is absolutely non-negotiable: healthcare. Because you have to ask, what happens when the medicine you rely on can't be trusted?
One of the biggest challenges for any healthcare system is just making sure the medicine people take is safe, that it's authentic, and that it's going to work. The threat of counterfeit or just plain bad drugs getting into the supply chain is a massive danger. So how on earth do you secure an entire country's pharmaceutical imports? Well, this is where something called the ACI system comes in. That stands for Advanced Cargo Information System. Before a shipment of medicine even leaves its home country, the manufacturer uploads all the documents to a secure blockchain. This whole process gives the documents a unique, unforgeable digital fingerprint. Think of it like a high-tech cryptographic seal that, because it's on the blockchain, is permanent. It cannot be broken. So when that shipment finally arrives in Egypt, officials can check that seal instantly. Any change, any tiny alteration in the system flags it immediately. It's brilliant.
And that's the crucial point here. This isn't just about being more efficient. The core feature, that unchangeable record, makes these critical documents literally impossible to forge. This is technology directly protecting the health of millions of people before a single fake pill can even get close to a pharmacy. Now, this whole principle of creating unbreakable trust, it goes way beyond just medicine. Let's take a look at the everyday products we all use and how blockchain is building that same trust from the factory all the way to you. Come on, we've all had that moment of doubt, right? Is this bottle of olive oil genuine? Is this car part the real deal, or is it some cheap knockoff? For both us as consumers and for businesses, proving something is authentic is a huge, huge challenge.
So enter Kira. It's an Egyptian startup with a really clever solution. They give every single product its own unique digital identity, usually a QR code, right there on the factory floor. From that second on, every single step of its journey gets logged on the blockchain. This creates a totally transparent and unchangeable history. So what does that mean for you? Well, it means you can just pull out your phone, scan the code, and see the product's entire verified history. No more guessing, no more doubt. And get this. This isn't some small-scale experiment. Kara has already tracked and verified over 28 million products. Just think about that number. That's the massive scale at which this tech is already working, building a real foundation of trust between brands and their customers, one product at a time. Okay, so let's switch gears. We've talked about physical goods, now let's talk about the flow of money itself. Because for millions of Egyptian families, the old financial system was anything but trustworthy, and it definitely wasn't efficient.
For the millions of Egyptians working abroad, sending their hard-earned money back home to their families used to be this slow, painful, and super expensive process. Every single transaction had to hop between all these different banks, and each one would take a cut and add days to the process. We're talking about money and time that these families just couldn't afford to lose. So the National Bank of Egypt decided, you know what, we're going to completely change the game. They partnered up with RippleNet, which is a global blockchain network for payments. And this wasn't just a small upgrade, it was a total overhaul. It created a direct, secure payment corridor between Egypt and places like the UAE. Suddenly, transactions didn't need to bounce around the old, slow system anymore. They could just move directly through this new blockchain-powered channel. And the impact is, well, it's nothing short of transformative. Remittances that used to take days now show up in seconds. And because you've cut out all those middlemen, the cost of sending money is way, way lower. This isn't just some technical fix. It's a huge win for families who depend on that income. It puts more money back in their pockets, and it does it faster.
So these three examples, in health, consumer goods, and finance, They're really powerful, but they are not isolated cases. Not at all. They're actually part of a much larger and rapidly growing ecosystem that's changing the very fabric of the Egyptian economy.
I mean, just look. We're seeing this technology pop up everywhere, from tracking agriculture supply chains with a project called Mahasil, all the way to education research with Block Campus. This isn't some niche tech anymore. It's becoming a foundational tool all across the economy, and it's creating new opportunities in some really unexpected places.
So, with such a strong foundation already built, the really exciting question is, what comes next? Where does it go from here?
Well, there are some absolutely massive opportunities on the horizon. Just imagine solving the nightmare of fragmented medical records with a single, secure health record for every citizen, one that they control. Or what about pretty much eliminating real estate fraud by putting property deeds on the blockchain? And think about how much easier it would be for employers if university degrees were instantly verifiable online. These are the kinds of big, systemic problems that are just ripe for a solution like this.
And here's a really crucial takeaway, especially for anyone in the tech space. This isn't just some abstract theory. Companies and banks in Egypt are actively hiring people with these skills right now. So if you're a developer learning a language like Solidity or a framework like Hyperledger Fabric, it's not just about adding a new skill to your resume. It's about putting yourself right in the middle of this incredible wave of innovation. So, from securing our medicine to speeding up our money to verifying the products we buy every day, the story of blockchain in Egypt is really one of practical, hands-on problem solving. It's moved so far beyond the hype to become a tool for building a more trusted and a more efficient future. And that leaves us with one final exciting question to think about. With all this potential, what's the next great challenge it's going to solve?